It's a very new term for many of us.
In recent history, Rupert Sheldrake, he came up with this concept of animal telepathy.
Today, like even talking to humans is quite a challenge.
The entire nature and ecosystem talk to us every day in and out.
Do you think it's intuitive?
We humans, we think out of head, but intuition lies in guts.
Where did this seed of becoming a communicator start?
We humans, we need validation at every point of time in our life.
Why, as humans, we feel so disconnected from nature?
We need beehives, we need butterflies, we need that pollination, cross-pollination
Yeah.
take place.
It's as simple as that, It's high time we all realize this. Hi, Abhi.
Hey Neha,
Welcome.
thank you so much.
We're so delighted to have you today.
Pleasure is mine.
Finally, the day has come.
Oh yes, been planning for a while.
And yeah, we're going to talk about a very, very interesting topic, my personal favorite, which is animal telepathy.
Sure.
So I can't wait for you to enlighten the audience on this very new upcoming science, which is, I think, revolutionary, right? But first of all, how are you doing?
I'm doing jolly good. I just came back from our Shivaratri Isha Foundation, so all charged up, having gala time and looking forward for this communication.
Sure.
Yeah,
So let's start talking about what is animal telepathy, first of all, because again, it's a very new term for many of us.
sure.
So I think let's just go back to square one.
Absolutely. See, first of all, if we go by the word telepathy, so tele and is a Greek word which means that distance, and pathos is emotions. So whenever we start staying with pets or any animals for that matter, we start having certain set of emotions. Now these emotions start getting bonded over the period of time, and the bond becomes stronger. And whenever we are with them in person or not, we get the ability to communicate with them. Essentially, this is applicable right now in these scenarios where especially when the humans are having pets at their home, they know everything about each other. It's like, a cat would know what is happening to a pet parent, or a dog would know what is happening to them, and you would also know, because that's how you are bonded. Now eventually when we go ahead in expanding the scope of communication, it goes to the plants, trees, forests for that matter, and also all the animals which are on the road as well as the wild.
Wow.
So this is the basic of animal telepathy, where if you are talking to any animal which is at a distance, you can still communicate with them, understand what is their role in your life, what are they up to, and then there are myriads of questions we can start to understand from them.
Amazing. Very interesting. So can we talk about the science of this? Because, many people don't even believe or can't even digest the fact that today, like even talking to humans is quite a challenge.
Right.
So how does this work scientifically?
Right. So I would say that more than science, this is an art. And if we trace back into the history, in recent history, Rupert Sheldrake, he's one of the zoologists and botanists in United Kingdom, and he came up with this concept of animal telepathy. He has done a lot of researches going on the forest and across India, Malaysia, Africa, and understood that what are the patterns that this animal carry, how they communicate with each other. He came up with a very famous book called Dog Who Knows Their Owner Is Coming Home. And it apparently happened that he had published an article, and from that article it started having so much of good response from the readers that he had to create this book. He did a lot of experiments of how you keep so he did experiments of let's say if you have a pet at home, how would your pet know that you're coming? And then there were a lot of theses, antitheses, like is it just by the smell, is it by the way the humans react, other humans react at the home? But every time he went ahead, and the last experiment which he did was a pilot who was flying overseas, and he was coming back and his pet was kept under observation. The moment pilot came back, he landed, the pet started behaving differently. So that's where he came with this theory of animal telepathy. With pet it is easier because the validation becomes very easy, and that's where I'm coming to the point that we humans, we need validation at every point of time in our life.
Yeah.
Even in our dog will treat them in a way, you are a good boy, you are a bad boy, which essentially means that we are also giving them validation, and then that's how they would react. But in their own world, animal telepathy has been happening by default for all of us. If we trace it back to our culture, in Indian culture, Dattatreya has 24 gurus, out of which many of them are animals, which includes python, which includes moth, pigeons, all that. And you would always seen with him four uh, dogs would be going along with them, which represents four Vedas. Tracing back again, as this come from Mahashivratri, the story of Mahashivratri has a anecdote of a deer and a hunter. So there was a hunter who was looking for catching hold of a deer. He was very hungry and his family was hungry. So there's this deer who comes to him. He's trying to kill them, but this deer says that, hey, I have to go back, I have my family to feed. Can you wait for a while and I'll feed my family and come back? He goes up to the bale trees near the pond, and that night he's awake because he's waiting for the deer. Now when he's speaking to the deer, there is a communication taking place. The story goes on when the deer comes again, and the son he brings his family, and they are all ready to give their life. And then the Shiva appears and say that, oh, by the time I was there and you did your Bilva Abhishekam, it happened just by that, because there was this shivling beneath the tree. And then he gives the deer this place in the cosmos, which is known as Mruga Nakshatra now. But the essence is there was a communication between a hunter and a deer. And even in the Ramayana times, if we quote it, there has been communication with Vanar Sena, Angad, Jatayus, and whatnot. So these things were very default. In the prehistoric times, it was there because we used to stay with them. And now there is a time where we are there, they are there with us as a pet. So in all this way, we have a pet or a plant or any nature around us which is talking to us all the time. And the thing is, we consider this as a science because our education is structured in a way where we need a left brain approach. We need to see everything physically. We need science to come and say that this is how it should be, and that's how we believe in it. But if we just unloose ourselves a bit, and especially if you go to the tribal areas or the forest areas, and if you speak to those who are staying there, you will realize that they are talking to us. These entire nature and ecosystem talk to us every day in and out. So more than a science, it's an art. The reason I'm saying it's an art because it needs certain set of grounding, it needs certain set of self belief, it needs certain sense of ability to speak to them just like you're speaking to any humans. But once it is there, it is just like a very free flowing process.
Wow.
So yeah,
Very interesting. So you're trying to say that basically we are all one consciousness,
absolutely,
right? Spiritually, if you look at it, we're
absolutely,
all connected with this one cosmic energy.
yes,
And that's the ethos or the core of communicating with anything in creation.
absolutely.
So whether it's animate, inanimate, it could be.
Any space, any being which has a life, or any being which has a etheric space, wherever it is occupied by etheric space, all of these things consult like we belong to the same consciousness in a way.
So I think you just need to tune into that frequency,
Absolutely.
as you said. So do you think it's intuitive, uh, in a way?
So I would say intuition does play a role here. More than intuition, the grounding plays a very important role. So you would see that whenever your pet is tired after a lot of walk or after a lot of run, he would just put himself on the ground and roll himself. Or he would see that you would see most of the time he would just stretch his body and try to ground himself. If it is open grass or open meadows, he would play with this mud and the dust and then have a good time. That is what is typical grounding is. And the same thing happens to humans as well, because we are when tired, let's say if we are tired and coming out and taking a cold shower and just sit in there for a while, all our stress and all our, even if we are negatively imbalanced in emotions, if we are under a shower for a while, all of our anxiety
The
and stress are
water
taken care
washes.
of. Yes,
Yeah.
similarly, and the same happens for the sparrows and birds. If you see, they would just come to the water bowl and then they would flutter their body and
Mm.
discharge themselves. So having having that grounding is very important, and having that belief, because we humans we think out of head, but intuition lies in guts.
Yeah.
And when we connect to that guts, as we say in Atharvashishtam tvam muladhara sitose nityam, which means that when you operate out of muladhara or operate out of guts, it starts giving you a very simple answer which exists all the times. It's just that we can access it more effectively.
Well, that brings me to the question that how can we access it? In the sense, let's say a layman, who is living a very material, normal course of life,
Mhm.
decides to get into this field. What are the essentials that one needs to do?
Right. So I would say that anything which is happening around us is a reflection of our own self. So let's say when I look at this specific flower, I have its certain image and I have its certain color. And even though it is external, internally I'm pursuing its image and internally I'm able to see it. Similarly, if there is any animal who is communicating with us, we may think that it is an externally physical body, but essentially we can do the animal communication. So there is two prerequisites, right? One is either you have a picture of that pet or a correct source of reference. For example, if I have a pet picture in front of me, now it has a certain image. It may look like all pet is similar in appearance, but when that specific connect happens, and when we look at the internal references, when I say internal references, we are made up of five senses. So pet would try to communicate you through those senses. You may just feel like they're just talking to you in your own language, and every information they are saying it is just passing through you. Or you will feel, let's say, if you are asking for a certain disease in the pets, and we are asking ki vets have told that this is fine, but still you are showing certain other traits. Where are you having pain? Or where do you have the pain? And that time they would give you some sensations in the body, which is more of a kinesthetic in nature. So that is where you will get to know that this is happening to the body itself. Or you will also smell something, for example, or also vision for that matter. So lost animals, we get the visions where they are, they send their locations. And so I would like to quote an example where there's this parrot who was lost, and when I communicated with that parrot, he said that I don't know how to fly, but I was flight because I was pushed away by the neighboring kid. And when I asked him for a location, he showed me LIC, the board of LIC. Now I'm first on the logical side, I would think that LIC, do they even know what is that? But that is the cognizance that they have, that there is something like this, and that comes out as a flash. And then the pet parent who reached out to me had called that there is this specific place where there is LIC colony, which is about 500 meters. They went there and they could spot it and they could find
Wow.
it. So it also happens with the visual. So it is all five senses put together. And as in Bhagavad Gita, Shri Krishna Bhagavan says that Manashashtani Indrani, which means that mind is a sixth sense. And our job is to develop that sixth sense and to keep it as pure and as flamed as possible, so that whenever we are communicating with dogs, that we get the very right information in a way through our guts. So yeah,
Wow. That's intense.
yep.
So, I mean, let's go back a bit to your journey because we should also talk about, the grounding you had to do and where did this seed of becoming a communicator start? It would be interesting to know that.
Sure. So since my childhood, I never knew that word existed, but I was a naturalist. When I got to know what naturalist means, I'm like, okay, I was doing that. So I was into birding. I was part of Bombay Natural History Society, and then plants and trees always fascinated me. So when I stay in Vilepal in Mumbai, we have this tree friends like Brukshamitra, Parle Brukshamitra, where we do a lot of tree nurturing activities. So it used to happen. One fine day, I just felt like there is a tree of Audumbar in my vicinity which is being chopped. I just got that as a flash. But back then, I had not learned animal telepathy. And when I went there and I saw the tree being chopped without permission, I got a shock of my life. I'm like, how did this happen? And that was just first instance. Then second instance happened that sparrows I used to feed sparrows in my home. But eventually it had stopped coming because I was away from Mumbai, and for a good 7 8 years I was not there. I still wanted to attract it, and I just one fine day felt like calling them out. Ki, wherever you are, please do come and have food. I have it for you. And suddenly they started coming in, and
Wow.
I'm like, okay, maybe this is just wild tukka lag gaya types. Third time, it happened that I'd gone for I go to Himalayas every year, and I was staying in this place, Peura, near Mukteshwar. And it was by late evening. I thought I'd be back in a while because I was going for a stargazing. But it was late evening and I couldn't come back on time. And then it was dark and I did not know how to go to my place because it was like all pitch dark area. And that time I was scared and I just called out against the nature saying that, please send someone for help. And suddenly a dog came out, and I was like, I'm gone because there are wild dogs in the Himalayas, as I've heard. So I was like, maybe. But then also I knew the story that there are mountain dogs who
Oh,
do
yeah.
help you.
Yeah.
So he then started coming and going somewhere, and I just blindly started following him. He took me all the way to the place where I used to sit and meditate at that place. And just next to that, there
Wow.
was this place where I used to stay. It's Airbnb property where I used to stay. So these three incidences give me a kind of an insight into these things exist. And I got to know from one of my friend that animal telepathy exists. One of the she did it for his two pets, and it worked really well. And I had a friend who was having a Labrador who was behaving quite unusual, and I asked her, "Okay, why don't you try a communication?" I connected her to a communicator. I was part of that call, and the detail in which this dog started going, including the bickering which is happening in the home, the fights at home, and he's not been trained properly. All those things which he was telling about the food that is given was so bang on accurate that I'm like, this one should know, because we will get to know how this is happening. And when I learned it, it was just like me. It was just like, out of curiosity, that I would just attend one workshop and see how it goes. But when I learned and started experimenting, I'm like, this is awesome. So that's how it bred out of it. And one more thing I would say is spiritual practices, especially the kriyas. I follow Sadhguru and his teachings, and he always says that there is this part of us which goes beyond a logical mind. And these days, again, as in our education system is so structured, and when we say structure, it needs to be in certain way to get certain validations, that we don't get the ability to think out of other things. But when we become open to such experiences, we can receive a lot from nature. So that's how the animal telepathy happened, and I got to learn. Uh,
So, how many years back did you start this?
this is about 3.5 years back.
Okay.
So
So, you already had a spiritual base,
spiritual base, yes, was there
which
since a
kind
while.
of helped you maneuver into this.
Absolutely, yes, that's true.
And how many days is the course for people, who would want to get into this?
Mhm.
I think let's just give them some guideline as to how the
Sure.
process would work.
Absolutely. So there are many animal communicators these days. I learned from someone called Manjari in Pune, and she's amazing communicator. She has in fact spent a lot of time like Rupert Sheldrake. She had learned from Rupert Sheldrake and other overseas communicators, and she's again a naturalist who has spent a lot of time in forest. She's been taken by called by WWF for understanding as to how the animals in India, they do a family trips. So
Oh,
yeah, they one would start from another part of forest, another would start from other, and then they would go together somewhere. So she has done those researches, and when I used to hear her stories, I'm like, this is amazing. So
I'm
and the beauty
sure.
of workshop is, see, why workshop is required, because there is a structure which we have learned. We need to unlearn that. It is just for that.
I
Uh,
think that's the most important point.
yeah.
Yeah.
So a lot of unlearning takes place in that workshops. Any workshops which animal
Become
communicators,
empty basically
it
to
becomes an
kind of
empty. Absolutely.
absorb. Yeah.
Yeah. And then from there, in first 10 minutes, they teach us how to start communicating. That's the beauty. And then there are, of course, advanced courses, and so that you can try more of finding lost animals and speak to the deceased pets. But beginning, if you have a pet at home and if you want to communicate, in fact, many humans or pet parents who I have interacted with, they've said that I don't need the communication, because I just know what is happening to my pet, and my pet listens to me so well.
Wow.
And
It's
because
very natural.
yeah, because communication is very natural, it's very instinctive, it's like you're just staying with each other, and you just know what is happening in them, and especially women, they carry that motherly instinct.
Yeah.
So they would so well they would carry these things so well that you'll be able to understand what is happening to them.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I have a pet, and sometimes, yeah, I do feel that. But somebody who wants to be professionally doing this, so how many days is the workshop just to walk them through this?
Right. So it goes from about a week. The shortest one is of 3 days to about a week, and then it goes for about 7 night, 8 days. Again, where you spend time in forest and then learn. And there, the application goes beyond just animals. It goes to the nature. It goes to the insect. It goes to the soil and whatnot
Under the same course.
at the same course. So there are different segments. There are advanced courses and so. But
So the
yeah,
basic is
basic is very
about a week
basic is about a
long.
week. Four days a week,
And how
depends on the
many more
structure.
advanced?
Advanced are like, there is this a couple of courses, right, which basically there is, these are of Manjari ones, but what I can say is there are a couple of courses where there are 7 days programs, a month program, and there are a wildlife responders program where you be in the ecosystem and understand everything which is happening around you, and then interact in a way. So in those, and I would say for all of us who is not even part of you know let's say who doesn't have a pet at home, but it is really great if you get a chance to visit any remote areas where there are tribals, and there are mountain dwellers, because they would be talking to the nature in and out. To quote an example, in Satara, in tribal areas, my one of my relatives, they work very closely in the tribal areas, and she says that there is a tribal, they know that there is this beehive, and they know that they want to have honey from them. They would just go walk to the place. They would just request the beehive that they need honey. They would just go and pluck the honey, and bees would not harm them.
Wow.
And when I'd asked her, "Ki, why is that?" Because they're like, they very well know that they would just take only adequate amount of honey which is required.
They get the vibe.
They get the vibe.
Basically, the intention of a
Absolutely.
person coming to them, because I think they're much more sensitive
Oh,
and
yes.
pure as compared to.
Right, and they are interacting with nature in and out, so they would just see, let's say, in the seashores, in some of the seashores in India, where there are those fishermen, they would just see where the seagull is sitting by them. They would get to know that if there is going to be flood or not, or if there's going to be high tides or not. So it is in a way indirect way of communication with them, where they are observing something and then they are being told. Of course, during the earthquakes and tsunamis, we have enough ample examples where pets have come and crows have come and they've taken them out and helped the humans in a way. So it is that easy in a way if you look at it.
I know. I think animals are a very, very important part of our ecosystem.
Absolutely.
And yeah, I think we need to be more aware of this importance
Right.
and take so much more care than what we are doing.
Sure. I would like to quote in another example. So in Vedic astrology, right, there are certain pariharas which is given. Now, these pariharas, if you see traditional astrologically, if you see traditionally, these all pariharas is to feed any some or the other animals or the insect. Like say for Saturn you feed crow, for Rahu you feed fish and birds, for
Yeah.
Bud you feed again, for Mercury again you feed birds,
Yeah.
and dogs for Ketu, and cats for again some other planets in a way, monkeys for Mangal, for example. We may think that this could be just a wild remedy for it,
Yeah.
but this is a
There's a
classic.
science.
This is science, because our culture brings in giving, believes in giving back from where we are taking. Earlier, it used to be one ecosystem. Now we have invaded that space. Mangal is known as a Bhumikaraka, and a place where there is a land. We own a debt to land because we are utilizing that land. And Mars and Mangal are connected. Mars and monkeys are connected astrologically. So that's why there is this remedy to give up the debt of the land. You feed animals, you feed monkey, you feed any other animals, and that will kind of even out your debt, because you may go on building areas and large infrastructure and thing, but in a way you are occupying their space. And but in our culture traditionally, these all things were part of our routine, where we are feeding all of these, like
Oh,
fishes,
yeah.
birds, dogs, cats, insects. We also have the provision to give those atta to the
Oh,
ants.
yeah.
So we are so holistically connected, and the interaction would just happen naturally. Now when we as a human have started distancing ourselves, that's where the whole this need of learning something, unlearning something first and learning something has arrived.
Yeah. And I think that's also the reason why, as humans, we feel so disconnected from nature.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Like the loneliness and the mental health issues.
Sure.
I'm sure this contributes to that as well, because we are disconnecting from what is natural.
Correct. So this
So,
you've hit the very right chord, because in animal telepathy we call it as a soul contracting. So any animal or a pet would come in your life with a certain role to play. Now this role can be of a giver or it could be a receiver, and again it based on the soul contract that you have with that animal. For example, there could be an animal who will come in your life to just take away your loneliness. There will be another pet whose role in someone's life will be to just be an epitome of love and provide love to that family. In someone else's life, that animal would come to receive the disease of the humans they are staying with. So,
wow.
and they know what is their role in the family. They would just wish you to understand that the loneliness that you are feeling, or the it's all the inner reflections which you have. So many times we get calls from humans saying that my pet is behaving unusual, he's not talking to anyone, he's going with just selective few people, what's wrong with him, can you check with him? When I speak to the pets, if they are mirroring any humans, which means that they are carrying the reflection of humans in them.
Oh.
So, which when I connect with them, they would say that, oh, it is this person in the house who is a loner and who doesn't like to mingle more with someone. And that's why he is feeling this way. And
So are they absorbing
they
that,
absorb.
like in the process of healing them? Or it's just that they're picking it up? Like,
Right. So there are two anecdotes to it. So one is mirroring. Mirroring is it's just a reflection. So in mirroring, it doesn't harm them, but they would show the properties of, let's say, in a house that there are two pets, and in that specific home there are about four of family members. Now one pet is close to one person, and that pet would just mirror that guy and would show all that trait. Like I have, for example, when uh, a very famous Gujarati actor, he had two pets at home, and he one of the pet would just mirror him, because I know that like that person as a good friend, and he would be, this person is very bubbly and chirpy, and he would like to have many friends. Same goes with this pet. This pet would just behave in a certain way where he would go with everyone and not. And there is another pet who would be very reticent, quiet. He would not speak to anyone else because that's what is someone else in the family who is reflecting it. So here it is just mirroring. It is
Mirroring
not
the personalities.
mirroring the personality. So when I ask, so the very important part of animal telepathy is when we are treating animals or when we are interacting with animals, we are in a way interacting with humans. So it's like we are working with animals, but we are working with humans, because change in and human behavior will do a lot for the animal behavior as well.
So they're like a medium
They are like a medium,
to.
and they come from a very higher consciousness, and sometimes they would carry the soul contracts for 100 years, for example. And many pet parents, they feel that pet came in their life for just a while, and that pet either had to leave or abscond. But and we feel that loss, we feel that physical loss which leads to emotional distress. But when we communicate with pet would say that, oh, we have a soul contract, and we have a soul contract of 100 years, so don't worry, I'm going, but someone else will come, but that contract will remain. So we
So the
need,
same soul would come back, you mean?
so they operate in a certain frequencies, as I understood, and they have a community who would
Okay,
take care of.
so
Yeah,
they come like in a group.
right.
It's
So I would like to quote an example. There was this person, in fact, this pet called Scooby, and he was one of my a very close pet who had communicated. Not my pet, someone else's pet, but a very friendly pet who is helping me even today to find a lost pet. And any messages, if it has to come to me from the animal community, he's the one through which I get the messages. Like
wow.
today, I got a message from the pet parent saying that I'm at Kamakya, and then I just connected to Scooby. She's like, just to give you a good luck for this. So,
Oh,
yeah.
nice.
So, and we
That's
had
so
not
nice.
interacted for a while. So,
They travel in groups.
the
The
traveling,
way humans have a soul family.
right?
Is it similar to that?
It is similar. So, in specific cases like this, Scooby was he passed away, and I was speaking to, in fact, so this is a case of a pet who has crossed the rainbow bridge, and the pet owner or pet parent reached out to me just in a week's time. So when I'm communicating with pet, he's telling me about his journey. He's like, I'm going right now. It's still, I'm not there. And then he goes on saying what is happening in his family side. So he's like, there is Vishnu Sahasranam being played, which is helping me in my journey. There
Oh,
is Shira Prasadam, which is kept, which is helping me in my journey. And I'm missing that a lot. So I asked my mom to just calm down and, wait. And
yeah.
then he goes on saying later in my further communications where he says that, don't worry, somebody is going to come who is going to be from our tribe. And after few months, almost about 6 months from there, uh, the another dog comes in our garden and they adopt them.
Wow,
So
this is very interesting.
yeah,
Which brings me to another subject of communicating with the deceased. Like you just gave this example that even after they leave the physical dimension, so it's all energetic, right? I mean,
absolutely.
is that something different from what you do here to communicate on the planet?
Yeah, so there's a concept called as morphic cloud. Now, the morphic cloud is a space where all the souls and their memories are stored in the etheric space, I would say. So when,
Akashic records?
in a way it is, but it is not a direct way of Akashic record, because morphic cloud is somewhere where there's a collective memory of whatever happened. For example, now when we know how to use mobile phone at this later age, kids who are just caught in, they would be very they would like they're very quick at it, because that's a morphic cloud they've been accessed. So though genetics play its role, but how would they know that that this is how it should happen? So this is what a morphic cloud is, where there is a collective memory of whatever is happening to the birds. For example, Siberian cranes, when they travel from Siberia to western side of India, Goa or somewhere, They are following a certain routes. Now, genetically, if they are designed in a way, that is one question. But it's not, just genetically, but they would know that they are supposed to get down at this specific space. They are supposed to, take rest in between at these pit stops and then come to a place. Or say a turtles who does hatching near Alibag. uh, there's entire turtle hatching festival which takes place. They also make use of this morphic space, morphic cloud, and that's how every wherever they are in whichever part of the landscape, they would come to that specific beach and then they would do the hatching. So it is that morphic cloud which we try to connect with. It is not Akashic records, but it is a
It's like
morphic
an
space. It's
antenna.
kind of an antenna. It's kind of a
Yeah.
space where they are. Now we cannot physically locate its space, or I would have told where that is.
Yeah, it's
but
etheric
uh,
for
but
sure.
but it is there,
Yeah.
and then they would say, okay, hey, I'm waiting for this elderly person to come, and once that person is there, then I'll take the next birth. Or they would say that, hey, you know what, it's just about 6 months and I'll be coming back in your family, just wait. So it is that space where they are, but they still speak to you. It is not a planchette. It is not like we are calling them to the plane and speaking. It's just we are being a medium, like a hollow conduit, and from there we are connecting with them.
But look at Taki. He's so nice.
So cute.
It's all right. It's all right.
Wait. First,
Perfect. Okay.
first I don't know. Let
You
me
give them a
think.
clue. All right. So that he's ready. Yeah.
I'm not ready. Not ready yet. I'm just thinking of the question. Uh, cut. Cut. I, I, I'm, I'm not ready. So my question to you is, uh, how did he learn animal telepathy? Like how did he, and who did he learn it from?
So I learned from someone in Pune who does animal telepathy as a profession, but she's more than that. She's a naturalist. She spends a lot of time in forest, understanding how different animals, birds, the entire ecosystem like plants and trees, they react and how you can communicate with them. So I learned from her.
So, why were you so interested with animal telepathy? Why?
Because couple of times I saw some animals, trees, plants talking to me. Like one day I felt that then somebody was chopping the plant and chopping a tree, and I ended up being there and it was actually being chopped. I'm like, how did I get to know? And then I realized, oh, it is because of telepathy. And then one of my friend told me that they did a communication with a telepathic communicator, and that communicator told all what is happening in the family, including who they are close to and why they are behaving in a certain way. And I'm like, this is so cool, one should learn it. And one interesting thing, a dog helped me in finding a way when I was lost in the mountains.
Like, how did he help you?
So I was lost and it was dark, and I was like, how would I come back? And then I was looking around. So I'm like, I'm gone. So I just called out in the nature. Like they say that in the mountains, there is this mountain deity who stays. We call it Prakriti Devta. Okay. So I called out to Prakriti Devta saying that, please help me. Otherwise, I'll be gone. It's too cold and I'm done. And suddenly, his dog came to me. And I'm like, maybe he's coming to bite me. But then he barked and then he's going down. I'm like, maybe he's helping me. So I started following him and he took me and brought me to all the way where I was earlier, and that's how I got saved.
So, like, how was he like? What was he like talking like?
He did not talk, but he came as a guardian. So I'm like, how did he even know that I'm here? But somehow something which I sent, he received it and he came to rescue. And then there are so many stories of mountain dogs helping humans. They said that in Mahabharata, it's a dog who helped the entire Pandavas to go to the Swarg, to the heaven. So dogs, they understand everything. They are very receptive.
Why did he learn animal telepathy? Like, why?
Because I wanted to speak to as many as nature around me. I wanted to speak to all the natural element around me. May it be, again, as I said, right from ants, group of ants, which is who is going, or a lizard which we see at home, or cockroaches, termites, and I'm like, let me see what all they have to say.
And what kind of animals have we talked to right now?
Oh, I've spoken to a lot. So the smallest is ant, uh, ants, lizards, dogs, cats,
Insects too?
cows, horses, tigers, uh,
And also dogs.
gorillas.
Dogs too.
Sorry.
Also dogs and cats.
Yeah, dogs and cats, of course, almost as many breeds as possible. You know who is the most dramatic dog who have thought of, who have communicated with? Which breed? Just take a guess.
Labrador.
No, take one more.
Uh,
They're expressive. They're expressed, super
Poodle.
expressive.
Poodle.
No, one last chance. Think of them. They were super expressive, and they can speak. Like, their emotions are such. The way of expressing is such that you will feel that they are doing a lot of naughtankies.
A husky.
Perfect.
A Siberian husky.
Siberian Huskies. They are very vocal, and they are very expressive.
But like, how can huskies survive in such cool temperatures?
See, I asked them. They are like, "Ki, we are not huskies which are in Siberia. We are huskies who are in India. We are very accommodative. We don't have any issues."
But like, how can they survive the temperatures?
They don't prefer it, but then they are like, okay, it's fine. Their body is accustomed to it. They don't crib like we humans do.
Uh, can you tell what he is saying right now?
He's having good time with you right now. Whenever he's with you, he has gala time, and he's not hungry. He's fed. Did you take him for food or something? But otherwise, he's very sorted guy right now. He has no uh, nothing as such. No complaints.
Or is
Earlier,
he
he used to
just
have it.
okay?
Yeah.
What is the science of mm, animal telepathy? What's the science?
So you think of your friend, and your friend comes and call you, and you're like, "Hey, I was thinking to call you," and you just get a call. Or let's say if you're going for a party, and you're thinking that there's going to be this food, and you end up being there, and the same food is there. Again, that is telepathy. So telepathy we all do. We just don't look at it cautiously.
Okay, like, do the animals
Like,
talk back to you also?
yeah, it's a two-way communication. That's a good question. It's a two-way communication. It's always interactive. They
So
disguise
like,
you as
how
well.
can they communicate to you
You can.
when like when they don't even communicate to humans?
They do communicate with humans. It's just that we don't receive it.
Like,
The whole idea of animal communication, we become receptive to what they are saying. Like, I'll do an example. There was this lady who called me and said that my dog is not liking much socializing. What's the reason? So I spoke to that lady. I spoke to that dog. Dog said that because this lady, she stays so busy in her work that she is fed up of being with humans. So she doesn't want to be with humans. She just want to be with herself. And that's why even I'm mirroring her and I'm picky. And I'm like, then that dog started again went on saying that this lady is, I smell a lot of wine with her. So ask her to, shower before she comes to me. And that lady was working for a wine company. So it's a two-way communication like this.
so like, when like, who is the first? Do you know who is the first person to communicate with animals?
I would say the time, if I go by my logic, it is through Ramayana times and before that, because Ramji and everyone
So
spoke
like,
to.
every the gods, like,
It is just one nature. So nature speaks to each other. Now let's say you're taking Tucky out, right? And there are other dogs. Okay, way far. Before even going and interacting, before even barking or cuddling, there will be some communication take place that will make them decide if they want to be friends or they want to be foes. That is what is telepathic communication. So it happens like that. Like, you are also going to a school, right? And now there are so many students. You would just, you know, hit a chord with very right set of students who will be with your wavelength. So it is that matching of wavelength that we have to look at.
okay.
So it's like, when you correct, when let's say if you tune into a certain frequency on the radio, you get access to a radio stations and you can listen to that radio channel. Similarly, here we connect with their frequencies, we connect with, and then we speak to them, and they would interact in two ways. Okay. Thank you.
Done.
Well done.
You actually asked
Yeah, all
the
relevant
right
questions.
questions.
Yes.
Okay, so let's pick up from the morphic cloud. That's a very, very interesting and I think a new term for people.
Sure.
Can you talk more about it?
Right. So as we spoke, that in Akashic space, it's like, record where everyone will have a different Akashic record. You have to ask for the permission. Once you ask for the permission, you have to open it. And then every time you open the Akashic record, there will be different information coming from different births. That is Akashic records. Morphic space is more to do with it is more consistent, and it is there from the time. It is like a heap of collective memory, which is at one place. And we access that space to understand what is happening in a pet's life, how they are doing, what's their level of evolution.
So it's
So,
like a collective memory of all animals
yes,
and even nature,
even nature for that matter,
which you have access to.
which we have access to.
So
Yes.
that's what you are trained for in the workshop.
Yeah. So we don't need to take that as a reference, because anyway, animals take the reference and they tell about what is coming through that. And morphic clouds reference comes when, especially, we are talking to those who have crossed the rainbow bridge, because that's where they would know who is coming next in the
Sorry,
family.
what's a rainbow bridge?
Crossing the
Because
rainbow bridge is the pets have passed away.
okay,
They're deceased pets.
yeah,
So when they are in different planes, that's the time we connect with them, and they will say, "Oh, we are here." Now we don't know where they are, but then they would say what is happening to the family, and that time we are referring to them through that morphic space. It is just for that piece, but internally for them, they do refer to a lot of morphic clouds for to align, to do the reiki, to bring people, to give messages. Uh, like you have a pet, you're going out somewhere, and you are stuck somewhere, and some other dog would come and help you, or any of those kind of examples, that is happening through communication through them through a
it's
morphic
like a
space.
satellite.
It's like a
Basically.
satellite. It's like a
Yeah,
reference
where
point through which.
everybody's connected and they have access to. Wow,
Absolutely.
this is so interesting.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So
Right. So we were talking about the diseased pets.
Mhm.
So this is how you communicate with them. And
right.
also when you actually do it, the process, do you need to, is there a practice that you need to follow, like a plugin, like a meditative?
No, so best thing is this happens with the eyes open. All we need to
Okay.
do is do a grounding, and then we can connect.
So grounding, like, can you explain
Right. So
exactly?
grounding is, in a way, however we are kind of discharging ourselves from, overwhelmed thoughts, emotions, which is like excess in us. We're just grounding it, and we become. Grounding could be as simple as taking few deep breaths and you're
Okay.
grounded. It could be just sitting on the floor cross-legged and just letting some extra hands off. That is grounding. If your pets at home, most of the times they only ground you. You would see pets coming to your legs, sitting by your feet, going by our groin areas, because these are the places like the neck and the groin and the armpits where there are more of a sweat, and in a way the discharged energies, in a way. So
Negative
energies, yeah.
stress energy.
So that's where they try to ground you. So these are some typical grounding techniques, or the salt water, bathing, or putting your legs in the, just salt water.
Like basically centering
It's a
yourself.
centering your
Yeah,
energies.
and coming in the present moment.
Correct. And from there you can start having a simple conversations. So what the prerequisite for that is, uh, good to have a picture, if not picture, through reference to which the question has come, and then the list of questions, and then we can just communicate with pets.
So it happens with open eyes. There's no
It's-
need to sit down, or
Absolutely.
you can do it while you're moving around as
Yes,
well.
yes, absolutely. So we are just talking. So recently I was a part of a pet fed, and I'd kept up my kiosk for the communications, and there was a lot of walk-ins of pets coming in, and
Yeah.
it was a real-time communication with a lot of pets and pet parents, and it was a wonderful experience, because every time different pets, different stories, different messages for humans, different roles for humans. So it was just real-time live communication. So we
So
don't.
basically, you're constantly plugged in.
We're constantly
Now
plugged
you've
in.
come to that.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. I
And
mean,
there
it must
is-
have taken time initially to.
luckily no, but
Okay.
time takes in just building the confidence and setting up the guts. That's it. Uh,
And the
communication
intention.
happens. Yes, intent is very important. So there is this very faint line between the imagination and the receiving the right messages, because we may think that, oh, I'm getting this flash, and that's why this is this, especially in those cases where animals are giving some disease signs in their body, or they are lost and they are showing certain areas. But then we have to think from through the guts, that is it. And then in that we always refer to the source. The source here is the animal. Like, we just ask them, are you actually there? So I'll quote you an example. And again, animal telepathy does, distance doesn't matter. So I've got my clients across the globe, and one example which I would give you is of from um, someone from Manipur who reaches out me and say that my cat is lost. Now, where the cat is lost, cat is giving its location, but cat doesn't want to come back. So the first condition for the lost animals is we should ask them, do you want to come back or not? Now, if they don't want to come back,
The
then
reason
then
for
we
it.
ask for the reason,
Yeah.
and they would tell n number of things. They are very vocal. So generally, for example, in terms of cats, when the temperature changes, when the heat or when the smell changes, or let's say there's a lot of disturbances at home, and if their space is not maintained, they tend to run away.
The comfort,
Comfort is very
basically
important,
the
and the space,
environment.
right? And the space is very important.
So they don't like chaos.
They don't like yours. They like things very clean, because cats in a way are very clean by themselves. They would just clean themselves up every time. So they like the structured approach, and very cleanliness and hygiene and those things.
Wow.
So when I was trying to read this cat and asking ki your human is crying and trying to get it, trying to come back. So they were like, no, I'm fine. I'll come when I want to. Ask them to just calm down. So the precondition was ask my human to calm down, then only I'll come. And when I was asking for the location never happened, and it gave me one location which was actually there. The pet parent confirmed that that location was there, showing a slope and a bush and another road going to slope. And that time I got to know that it is some hilly area. Till the time I did not know they were from Manipur actually. So, but then it was a disguised location because he did not want to be found. So
Okay.
she just came back on her own at 2:45 in the night when the pet parent was sleeping.
So this is actually interesting because I'm just wondering while you're talking that can you also locate, like how do you locate a particular pet? Is it etheric, like you said, it's all energetic, or do they give you an indication?
Right. So they do tell the location. So the first condition if they want to come back or not. And then we ask is, are you genuinely lost or have you gone by themselves? Now, if they're genuinely lost, then the entire idea of capturing them comes in. So they do tell the locations. We ask them that wherever you are, just a couple of way to ask them. One way is to tell them ki show me the location on the map where you are, and then they would share the location. In my
Through
case,
some indication.
through some indications.
Okay.
In my case, most of the time they would exactly show where they are.
Like, give me an example because it's
Like there was this dog who was abducted at 2 a.m. by someone in Hyderabad,
okay.
and he was in distress. But he kept giving his location when he was going. So he first showed me an area where there is a cross, and it is across the a small alley, and behind.
So basically, I mean, just trying to go through this process. When you say that he showed me, in the sense, mentally you get an image.
We get the flash, yes.
Oh,
So I get
okay.
the flash and
Wow.
the image, and it is very clear because it is a continuous conversation with him. कि भाई तुम कहाँ पे हो? So it's like there is this cross and there is a slum area, and there I am. Before that, he showed me that there is this pet foster where he was taken for. So then the pet parent confirmed that there was a foster care close by, and nearby there is a cross. So they reached there, and then telling now tell अभी बताओ कहाँ पर है. See, now we have to understand when pets are distressed, they would not be able to give the location every time. So
Because they don't want you to find out.
first, either they don't want us to find out. Secondly, they are so stressed that they cannot communicate at all at that point of time.
Oh,
And that time they would
it's
think
blocked.
it's
Energy
blocked.
is blocked.
Yeah.
Oh.
And then they would think कि अभी हम इनको बता के भी क्या करें क्योंकि अभी कुछ होने नहीं वाला. So, but then again, this person again showed the location the next day, saying that इसी एरिया में पीछे cattles tie किए हुए हैं, वहाँ पे एक जगह पर है, वहाँ पे हूँ, but don't go right now because it is unsafe. So they also know this.
Wow.
And second time they went and they said ki the pet parent told that this place is very dangerous to be inside, and there's like it can be a risk to them because there are abduction cases happening over there already. So that way the location kept coming for 3 days and uske baad wo band ho gaya, which means that pet was then clueless what is happening. After a week I got connected again. He said that wait, I'll come back by myself. Right now it's not a good time for you to come. And then he told the reason that they have taken her considering that he will be used for mating.
Oh.
But he was neutered anyway. So they realized it later. So after a few months, he was brought back and he came back. He was again found where he was abducted from. So
he came back
he
to the
came
same
back like that,
place.
yeah. Came
So
back
there
or
have
somebody
been
would have
times
kept it.
where you are trying to connect, but like it's blocked.
It's blocked, yes.
And then
So-
you have to wait for the right time.
Right. So the thing here is the pet parent would be nervous. They would be anxious as well. my pet is not coming back, and they would be on their toes, and they expect, as a communicator, you tell exactly where they are. Abhi to hum yahan pe pahunch gaye. Why is he not there?
They're like impatient.
Impatient.
Yeah.
Whereas it is like, we as a human come as a challenge, a limitation.
Yeah.
Humans, we have our limitation where we cannot go beyond a point and find them.
Yeah.
And even if we do, uh, till the time they will tell locations, nothing would be possible.
And I think it's also the pet parent's energy
Absolutely.
which would affect, right? If
Absolutely.
they are very stressed and anxious about the situation,
Yeah.
I think they need to first calm down
True.
to then, let the pet communicate.
Correct.
Yeah, because they're obviously connected.
True. And just a funny example of how it happens for a different species, right? So, in 3 or 4 communications with cats who are lost, they were like very sure that they would come then in their own terms, and they had come on their own terms. Of course, rescued one was found. But in terms of dogs, if they see that their parent is ailing and they have gone because they were upset, like this is another case of Hisar, where this lady reached out and I was talking to the pet, and pet said that I'm going because somebody is going through a transition in this family, which means that somebody is going to leave the body.
Oh.
And that's what I couldn't tell that to the pet parent. So I said, "Ki wait for some time. He will come back." Now this pet parent had enough. They were staying in some in some farm area, and they could find him. They were staying in the farm area, and they got to know that okay, he is here. And then they went and they found him and came back. Now, when he came back, he realized he did not speak to the pet parent because he was upset. He's like, I told you I'll come by myself. But he ensured that he still come back and doesn't run away again. Whereas in cat's case, they would run away. And
But
apparently,
why would they do that? If let's say even if a human is transitioning,
Mhm.
is there a particular reason they would not want to be in that environment?
Yes, so they feel that that energy is quite, and in fact, this specific dog was even howling earlier, and that was a case, and he had told about the transition. Apparently, in that family, the transition was of another pet, but
Okay.
he could see it happening, and maybe they don't want to be in that stress situation, and that's why
Because
they
it's
run away.
griefy
It's
and
griefy.
it's that they can't take it, basically.
Correct, correct.
Okay.
So that's make them bit, and then they also they are in which way taking a lot from the family, so they want these time to be away from
Like
taking on,
recharge
right? Yeah.
and
So, but then yeah, there is no pro one reason for it that why do they run away like that. And but during transitions, I've seen that if in another case of 2 cats, one cat ran away because um, so there was like 2 cats in the family, and there was this one specific cat who was not keeping well, and she apparently ran away. So when I ran away and connected with her, she said that my brother is taken away by someone else. And
Oh.
the human said that yes, sister took the another cat to another's house,
Oh,
and that's why they're like, now what will I do being here?
the
And
separation.
yeah. So they like never came back. So it's
Oh.
like that.
Right. This also reminds me, of that episode you told me, one of the cases you were dealing with, where the pet is able to absorb the ailments of the
Oh
parents,
yes,
whether it's emotional, physical health ailments.
right.
And so please talk about that because that's something which I think a lot of us don't know about
Sure.
the depth of having a pet because most of us are like, okay, it's a trophy pet we have
Yeah.
and it's very good for pictures and social media, but I
Right.
think there's so much more to a pet.
Absolutely. So it's very important that with adoption in pets, there's a need of understanding that what having a pet in the house means. It's just like a family. Even before I go there, I would like to quote one more thing here is that many of us humans who has this self-made ego that we are providers. So we, even if our pet is aging and is in the age of 10, 9, like 9, 10, 11, we still feel that oh, he's my baby or she is my baby. Whereas they don't like it. They're like he treat us as a when you're treating us as a family, treat us as like an elderly person,
As an equal,
as an equal, because
not a possession.
not a possession, and they feel it is kind of a disrespect to them. So many times they said, why they call me baby? I'm kind of
Much more
giving them
matured
lessons.
than
Yeah,
them.
I'm educating them. I'm giving them lessons. So and they have such roles, right? Sometimes they come to act as a son in the family. So communications, they come and say that I'm the son in the family. I'm playing that role of being the go-getter and do everything, because there is the son is not there in the family. That's why I'm taking that role. So it's that. Sorry, what was the question? I forgot.
And like the fact that, they can do so much more, like in
Yeah.
terms of the emotional health of the family, the
Right.
physical health. So can you just, list down few things that we are not aware of? The
Sure.
depth of their presence in a family or a space.
Right. So as we spoke about the soul contract, so when they have soul contract of receiving, this receiving could be of any emotional turmoils which a family would be going through, or there could be a receiving of the disease as well. Now, when they're receiving, we as a human, we feel that, oh, he is going through a lot. Why is it going through that? But they know that this is their role in the family and they are fine with it. But it is very important for us to keep a tab at what is happening in humans' life, because let's say when they are taking their diseases from humans, like this example I would like to quote you
Yeah.
is there was this an actress who has two pets, and one pet had a cancer, another the pet had vertigo, and she was wondering that why is this happening. They've been through a lot of hospitals and a lot
Yeah.
of
Treatment.
expenses have been done. And when I connected with that dog, the dog, both of the pets, when I connect with both of the pets said that it is not us, it is the family. So they were just two of them in the family. And she said, yeah, I have a vertigo problem. And my mom has a blood pressure issue.
Oh.
So they are receiving from them and they are trying to,
Heal them
heal
out.
them and reduce the intensity of the suffering that they are going through. But in a way, they take it on them.
Wow.
When they take it on them, they don't complain. But it is again the suffering which they have to go through.
So is that also a purpose of an animal coming into your life, or a pet rather?
Yes, yes, absolutely.
Like you said, soul contract.
Right.
So is it predestined or pre-planned, so to say?
Yes, yes, absolutely. Those soul contracts can be of 100 years as well. And as I mentioned, that they would come for some time, take the disease, go. Somebody else would come in the life. They would again take the disease and come. In fact, very interestingly, even generational, the pets, very interestingly, the pets would know what is happening through the generations. So there are again a couple of cases. Like one case I would like to tell is that this pet said that I am in their family not for the first time. I've been here since like last 4 generations. Ask them. Everyone in the family had us, and we are taking care of them. And in another case, a pet says that we have been traditionally the Kshetrapals of them. So
Oh.
wherever they had farm, we were there, and they said that yeah, we have got a lot of lands in India, and we have wherever we had a pet naturally coming in. That to a specific one with the the black ones. And on top of it, pets would also give the sign that we are coming through generations. तुम्हें check करना है. Just see there will be a sign or a mark on this part of a body,
Oh.
and that's how they try to give validation to humans that it is not just a buff, but it is actually like that.
Wow. So they do have the soul memory.
They do have soul memory. That's where the
Like
morphic
the
cloud
way
comes in
we
place.
have amnesic, layer on us, where
Yeah.
we don't remember our past lives, right?
True.
For a reason, of course.
Yeah,
But they do,
they do. They
is
do.
what you mean.
Yes.
Okay. So they can actually take you back to
Absolutely.
many lifetimes.
And in some, like in one of the conversations, they also trace back to the past life of a human, saying that you have this suffering in your family of these two diseases because these are the things you have done in past life. Now, again, we cannot validate it, but few activities or few mishaps which has happened in the family, that was very accurately said by this particular pet. And they said, हाँ ये सब चीजें बचपन से ही हुई है. This pet very interestingly kept on saying that whenever there is entry of someone in the family, one of us go.
Oh.
And whenever someone exits, some of our like one of us enter the family. So in
Oh.
that family, whenever there was a death of a human, a pet would enter their life. And so on and so forth would happen for like about 3 or 4
To
generations.
basically relieve the pain.
Relieve the pain, yes.
So it's all planned.
It's all planned. Yes,
The
yes.
bottom line is that.
In our culture, we say that we have Runanubandhas, right? The debt, a karmic debt.
Yeah.
So till the time we don't have karmic debts, nobody would come near next to us.
Yeah, of course.
So yeah. So I would again give you this example of ancestry, since we are talking on the lineages. I have that on my that story in my Insta page as well. But a friend of mine called me and said that crow is hitting us, hitting my head since last 3-4 days. What does it
Okay.
mean?
Huh.
So it was just a casual conversation, and I'm like, I'm just reminding you that your family member is going to your hometown. Just get the tirtham from there for your dadi.
Mhm.
So he's like, yeah, they are going to Saurashtra. So I'm like, I just that. Now the day before they were going, the same crow came and hit them again. This time he hit the family, like husband, uncle, auntie. When that happened, again I connected to the crow. Is like just reminding कि ध्यान से याद से लेके आना. I'm just reminding them कि याद से लेकर आना. Now they went, they brought it, and they gave it to them. And once this was over, the same crow came to the window, saw my friend's dadi, and he never came back. So
Okay.
that's the thing he was telling. So my friend asked, was he an ancestor? I'm like, no, it was not an ancestor, but it was an ancestral energy, because that dog, that crow, knew that this is what is going to happen to Dadi in future, and it was required to get the tirtham for a good gati of her in a way.
So we can say that they're like angels in a way, the angelic energy which is
Absolutely.
always saving us, indicating things,
Yes.
giving us a heads up to any dangers coming in.
Yes,
You can
absolutely.
say that.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
It's like supporting our matrix of life here.
oh yes, why not? So, see, it's about the observation, right? So, and again in astrology, we have this thing that if termites comes in your house, in Vastu we say that termites comes in your house, it has certain impact on your family. Now, it is just by the observation it was derived in back those, like, back those times. But now these are the direct communication with which we can get to know why it is happening. Like a friend who just casually messages me and say that a lizard walked past my feet. Does it mean anything? The lizard says like, ask her to take that shoot offer. And I just messaged her that there's a dance shoot offer for you. She's like, yeah, how did you know this? I'm like, this lizard is telling you.
Oh God.
It happened to me as well that once I was going by my two-wheeler and out of nowhere, the lizard walked past my right hand.
Okay.
And I just asked, Baba, kya hai? It's like, नहीं नहीं वो पैसे अटके वो आ जाएंगे. And actually happened.
Oh.
So traditionally these things were considered to be an omen.
I think we have become insensitive,
insensitive to it.
these indications.
Right.
But I'm just wondering, that how do we be conscious and aware of these indications in our daily life? Because obviously it's all hustle around.
Right.
Is there a way, where we can be more watchful and aware of these signs?
Sure. So that's why I always encourage everyone to be part of the mountain visits and spend time in the forest and those landscapes where there is no machines. We are just by the around the nature, and lot of things which you observe. If you keep observing time and again, it will become part of your life.
Yeah.
Uh,
That's a very good point.
yeah. So that's how you will start having more of these as an acceptance, and you'll become aware that we just think that a leaf fell on our feet
Yeah.
or on our head, but it may also mean something if we connect with them. So it's like this.
Just
Not
recharging ourselves, basically.
Right. Yeah.
And
recharging.
reconnecting with nature.
Reconnecting nature and just
Consciously.
trying to understand what are they seeing, what are they feeling around you. I'll give you another example where there's specific, and in our Indian culture, for every activity in the farm, there are songs. Right, you will see
Yeah.
those farming, the women
Yeah.
in the farms. They
I
are
think the
singing,
tribal areas, they
tribal-
still follow that.
right?
Yeah.
So for reaping, for sowing, for putting water, they have songs, and you will see that this is so beautifully embedded in our nature that when they sing, the response of the nature in terms of crops coming out, in terms of fertility, it doubles because there's like a lot of life exchange taking place.
Oh yeah.
Similarly, in our you would see that those who have house plants, when a specific person is taking care of that plants, they would respond well because they are like the person is doing through the heart, and
The
when somebody's
intention, I guess.
intention is there.
Yeah.
Like in pets, we say that there is separation anxiety when a human goes away for some time, or say for a day or two. The pets would not eat, they are just at home, they are feeling very sad. Similarly, it is with the plants as well. The plants would not reciprocate, they would feel, oh, it's not working out. It's like, what do we do and why? It's like, we are missing our owners.
Yeah.
So I'll just give you an example. It's in Pune as well. Pune itself, there was this house garden, and the pet parent, I would not say pet parent, there was this garden in someone's house, and the garden was like green garden, but it was not fruiting and flowering. So when I touch based with that garden, I got to know that garden said that here there is no movement of humans. Earlier there used to be a lot of movement. Now this place has become like a dead. Also, the garden went on saying that there used to be a son in the family who used to be around. Now that person is not there. That's why I'm going somewhere else.
Oh.
And so that son in the family, they were doing well. Sorry, I messed up. So the garden said that there was a son in the family who used to be around and he used to be very playful. Now he has gone somewhere else, and that's why, for whom will you flower and fruit for? Pet parents said that this garden stopped flowering and fruiting in October 2023, and that was the exact time my son went to the hostel. So
Oh, wow.
this is how the gardens would also respond to. Now it's a two-way communication. So I ask gardens कि बाबा अभी क्या करें, and then they only come up with the solution. They're like पहले नीचे यहाँ पे pets आते थे, strays आते थे, अभी नहीं आते. तो pet parents said that yeah, दादा दादी रहते थे, and they would give them food. They would give them, the pet. They would feed strays. So I'm like, start that, because that will cause some movement and that will make them feel, oh, there is life around them.
Yeah,
And
clearly says that we all thrive on exchange of energies.
absolutely,
I think, and we only look at the animate, but it's
totally.
everything.
Totally, yes. And that's how it started responding. And recently, like after that conversation, 3-4 months down the line, the flowers started coming in and it started flowering and fruiting again. And see the beauty in which the nature would work. Now, since the sun is not there, but I asked sun only to communicate with the plant, saying that they are missing you. So you only tell them ki you will keep coming, and whenever you come, you just water them once, so they will feel they are taking care of them. That was one solution. Second was, now cut to this, birds have started coming in, and if they don't give them food, the birds call them out, call the humans that, hey, yeah, we are here. They chirp and they make that sounds, and they bring these humans back for feeding them, so that the life around that remains. So that's how nature would start reciprocating once they know that you are connected with them.
We as humans, we are struggling with emotions day in and day out. Guilt, anger, jealousy. And we are trying to, of course, rise our vibration to the higher positive emotions like joy, happiness, peace, harmony. I'm very intrigued to know that how does it work with an animal? Uh, yeah,
Sure.
let's talk about that.
So, interestingly, there is this guy called Andrew Hicks, and he has drawn this energy vibration charts. So, for each emotions, he has measured certain frequencies. So, right, it starts from shame, guilt, anger, fear, and it goes up till the level of acknowledgement, and from there it comes to self-love, and goes up from there to acceptances and forgiving, and then blissfulness and joy, and it goes to that
And the
extreme level.
top
Up the
is
top is
self-realization.
self-realization.
Yeah.
So all these frequencies were measured, and when it comes to human frequencies, we operate right from as simple as shame and guilt, and from there it goes till in fact acceptance तक आने में हमें time लग जाता है. Whereas surprisingly, he has so Rupert Sheldrake and Andrew Hicks back then uh, measured these frequencies for animals, and almost all animals, in fact 100% of them, fit in the frequencies above acceptance. So when we speak
Wow.
of desires, or when we speak of shame or guilt or fear, they don't have it. They do have instinctive fears. For example, if somebody is attacking them, they need to be safeguarded, and they need to run, and so on forth. But fears of unknown, fears of losing, the way we have our emotional fears which keeps us down the frequency lane, that they don't have. So they operate out of those frequency and exhibit it all through the times.
Wow. No wonder they are used for healing and
Absolutely.
therapies,
Yes.
right? To balance out our anxiety and our stress.
True. And they would come in your life, as we were speaking about roles, but those specific frequencies, then they would ask you to, they would want you to work on those frequencies. That's why they would come with love. Or let's say if you're going through any lower frequencies, they would come there, and then they would help you rise up and raise up your vibrational frequencies. So it's a spiritual role that they play in your life, where they want you to take you from one level of frequencies to other, and rise up in your spiritual journey, going
Wow,
towards more
this
higher
is such
consciousness.
a deep insight. I mean, even I wasn't aware that they actually start from the bottom of the positive.
Correct.
There's no spectrum of the negative at all in
Absolutely.
them. And I think we as humans till now have kind of looked upon them as somebody which is lower,
True.
as a lower being,
Right.
which is the other way around.
That's true. The problem with us is we are vertical spines, and
Yeah.
all the almost pets or the animals, they are horizontal spines, except monkeys or so. So when we have the horizontal spine, their whole idea is to be in the instinctive, in the survival instinct space. Having said this, humans, we have things beyond survival instincts. we have desires, we have aspirations, we are like, everywhere.
Yeah.
For animals, it is just three things: they need food, they need sleep, and they need mating.
Yeah.
That's it. So once that is met, they are okay. And you will see in some cases where animals are showing as if they are feeling insecure or they are feeling anxious, we are going out. But ideally it is not the human anxiousness or human separation and anxiety which they are feeling. It is more of their own survival thing. For example, if I go, if my human is going, who will feed me? It would be
A
that
very
question.
basic.
Yeah. So, or if they are going out somewhere and somebody is going to attack, or let's say if a human is being close to some other pet, what if the adopt and attention for me goes down? And if that attention will go down, then again, what will I do for my food, or what will I do for my shelter, for that matter? So it is more of that kind of instincts, which bred more. It is more of those kind of emotions which bred out of their instinctive, their survival instincts in a way.
So no desires as such.
No
It's
desires
more
as such.
about surviving.
Right. But again, in case of some dogs and cats who are like so habituated with humans because they are staying with them since years, they have adopted a certain emotions, and then they have certain level of expectations. But on the consciousness range, they are much on the higher frequency. That, like, they would come down to our frequency to show certain emotions even if they are not mirroring. But on the higher, and but still they operate out of higher scale. So here one thing which I would like to highlight is, it's for us, it is very important how do we treat our pets at home. Like, one thing which I mentioned was that we like to treat them as babies, whereas they want to get treated equal. Second thing is how we deal with them. For example, in those households I have seen where pet parents are scolding, their love language is to scold each other.
Yeah,
In
yeah.
that case, pets would adopt barking as one of the trait, for example. And then they would call and complain that my dog keeps on barking. I'm not sure why it is happening. And when I talked to the dog said that ये उनकी प्रेम की भाषा ही है. They call each other through
Yeah.
they have such a
Yeah.
loud
Yeah.
noisy environment at home, and they are like those kind of pets. They are like those kind of humans who doesn't want to treat with respect, and
Yeah.
so they also adopt those things.
Yeah, because I'm just thinking, when you see, let's say, two dogs barking at each other,
Yeah.
it seems like they're angry on each other.
Right.
Right. And then there's a paradox that you just mentioned, that they don't actually have these lower emotions.
That's true.
So, I mean, maybe it's kind of ironical in a way,
True.
but probably we can put it in the survival instinct category.
Absolutely. For example, in India, we see this case, right, where the dogs, there are strays who are across the streets, and then there are those pet owners who are taking the dogs out for the walk. Now, हमें लगता है कि ये बार्क इसलिए कर रहे हैं क्योंकि they are not liking each other. But for them, it is a survival space because strays are out on the street. They have to look for their bread every day. And if a foreign elements come, they would feel that ये कौन आ गया, and they will have to fight for that. So till the time they get accustomed to it, they would have to still worry. Even human carrying the smell of the pet, they would still bark on them, saying that,
Yeah.
oh, some strange foreign smell is there. So that's why it
It's
is
all
not a
survival.
barking out of anger at all. It is just the survival instinct which they have.
Yeah. I think it's a thin line
Yes, I think
between.
that's true.
Yeah, because we get angry probably out of jealousy or comparisons,
Right.
and we have our own reasons.
Correct.
But this is important for us to understand that the perception has to be right
Right.
of what they're doing.
True. Because
Right.
we want our greed to be filled. We want our respect to be, my ego to be, sufficed.
Yeah,
and we
ego.
have
In
lot of
fact,
things, yeah.
that's
So if it doesn't match, we get angry. In pets, it's never the case. It's just like you give that bone to someone else, they will bark.
yeah.
So
I
it's
mean, after we've spoken all this, I'm getting a feeling that pets are, or animals are, majorly to serve us in a way, to add value to our life as an instrument. And that's the purpose of their presence in this ecosystem. Because humans, as spiritually, we know that are the only species who have the ability to evolve
right.
and reach the enlightenment. Right. And we need so many tools and instruments to help us in this journey
Correct.
to reach that state. And I think we've just not realized that animals, apart from the nature, are a very integral part of this journey.
Correct.
So, can we summarize it in that sense that
Sure. So more than instrument, I would like to call them like an angels
Yeah,
who are
that's a better
like every
word.
one of us as a guiding angels. Like they are
Yeah.
those guiding angels who are there in our life to guide us and
Yeah.
to teach us those things which we are having dearth of. To again quote you an example, when I was speaking about mirroring, let's say if a pet is feeling like lost, we get a call that my pet is lost, he doesn't know what he's doing, he's going somewhere else, he's again running back, coming here, he's not eating food on time, we're not understanding what is his behavior because of what for what reason. And when I speak to the pets, he says that no, the human here is lost, so he is not able to make decisions effectively, he is not able to decide in his life, he's stuck somewhere.
Handle emotions.
Yes, and in fact, even that I've seen it translated into diseases. For example, a vet I work with, vet said that this dog has been found tumor, but he's paralyzed. I don't understand why. So when I speak to the dog, he said that the paralysis of not me but of humans, and this paralysis is a metaphor, which has been absorbed and which is translated into disease. A paralysis is a metaphor of a human who is paralyzed in his life, in a way he's not able to think out of the
Mental
box. He's
paralysis,
It's a mental paralysis, he's stuck, he's rigid.
which is
And
basically psychosomatic. So
it's
it's mirrored as a physical ailment in the pet.
absolutely.
Wow.
So that way it is very important for us as a human to learn from them what they want to give us, and then operate out of there and to make a life better for pets. Because rather than considering them as a tool, if we consider them as an angel who are coming in our life
Yeah.
and bestowing us a
Helping
lot of
us.
blessings.
Yeah.
I'll tell you this another example of a very popular Gujarati actor. He has two pets, and he has told me in his when I had conversed with both of his pets, he's told me that the first dog when he came, I got to have my bigger house,
Oh.
and when the second came after 3 years, I doubled my work, my doubled my income, and then there is no looking back in his life.
So
So
they come as lucky mascots.
they come with lucky mascots as well,
Wow.
and it was an ancestral
Guys,
bliss.
this is a very good pitch. We should all have pets if you want to prosper.
True.
Yeah.
So yeah, and as you know, right, especially like the pets, every deity in our culture is has certain animals
Oh,
and
yeah.
beings
Oh,
assigned to it,
that
right? So
is actually a
yeah,
topic we should also talk about the significance of every animal. You
right,
know, what kind of energy they indicate.
correct.
So, yeah, just to, give some examples. Like cow, I have heard, and even in the scriptures, that is the most divine being on the planet.
Absolutely.
And I've heard that if you have a cow in the house, you will never get any diseases
That's
or
true.
any negative energy coming in. So
Yeah.
is that true? Like,
So
would you
cow,
validate?
since our Indus Valley civilizations and time before, cow has been provider of milk, and whoever provides us a food becomes a mother by
Oh,
itself. It's a
yeah.
mother who provides food to the child. It's a motherland which provides the food to us in terms of crops.
Yeah.
So that's why we give cow a statue of mother, and cow will have that motherly instincts, because in there was this again viral video where you have seen that an old lady used to feed cow has passed away, and this cow comes all the way to her funeral.
Hmm.
So that way they know as to what has happened in the family. In my one of my aunt's place in Rajkot in Gujarat, every day at the same time the cow would come and ring the bell, like they have this small bell,
Yeah.
and they would just ring to say, hey, I need my food.
Oh.
And that's because again, in Vastu we say that cow would come to only those houses where there is good energy. So to check if a place is good or not, they try to get the cow inside. And even to consecrate the spaces,
Oh.
because I do a land communication as well. So if there are any events and misfortunes which has happened, or a very stagnant energies are there in the space, cows do come very handy to understand what is energy at that space.
Wow. And they help heal the space as
They
well.
help heal the place. First of all, they would not go to the space where there are a lot of disbalance energies. You would
Okay.
see cows sitting at the center of a highway on the roads and not at the side where there is dust, because
Oh.
they prefer such pure and playful places as well.
Wow.
So yeah.
So let's go back to the spine you spoke about, the horizontal and the vertical, the difference, the major difference between a human evolution and animals. Like spiritually, how would you put that?
So, because we have a vertical spine, we have the future possibility. As Sadhguru says, our past is animal nature, and our future is divine possibility, present is human. Now, since we are human, we have vertical spine, we have the ability to think, we have the ability to apply the intellect, uh, be in the part of
Evolve.
sadhana and evolve. And we have that leeway where we can use the tools around us, which are the meditative practices or whatever, karma, jnana, bhakti, yoga, or whatever which is there, just going a bit spiritual here. But we can use those tools to leverage our life and to achieve that divine possibility, which is as we go deeper into chakras
Yeah.
and prana movement, and then going to the realization and then the mukti. And that's why in our culture, in our shastras, yonis are given of different animals. In fact, very interesting thing here is humans in Vedic astrology, based on everyone's nakshatra, there is a yoni given to human beings. These yonis are typically the animals that they represent.
Okay.
So, for example,
Like personalities.
personalities, yes.
Okay.
It represents personalities and also sexual drive for that matter.
Hmm.
That's why in the matchmaking we do that uni matching as well.
Yeah.
Imagine a boy is say Vyagra Yoni, which is tiger.
Hmm.
He will have a tiger kind of traits in him. And a female, let's say, is a Gau Yoni, which is cow. So tiger and cow personalities won't go with each other. Similarly, there is Mushak and Marjar. So Mushak is rat and Marjar is cat. So if these kind of opposite yonis meet, they won't get along well. And that will
So
there
how
will be-
many of such are there, like in terms of astrologically for a human being?
So there are about 14 unis, right?
Okay.
So let's say the first nakshatra is Ashwini. Ashwini has Ashwa. Ashwa is horse. So the trait of Mesh Rashi Ashwini Nakshatra person or Aries moon sign and an Ashwini Nakshatra person would be more of a horse. He would be like, healthy guy into fitness. Ashwa, the way they would like to be, most of the time active. They would not sleep. Horses don't sleep on the ground, right? So they would be active most of the time. Then comes the Bharini Nakshatra, which is the next, which is elephant, right? So they would be like, so you would see in some people who are quite, obese, नहीं बोलते, what's a good word? You will see
Like
some of those who has more weight.
ah
They are Gajionis. So Gaj is elephant. So even if they're trying very hard to
they'll
reduce
be
their weight, they will
sluggish
be
and
bit,
yeah.
and then they would be. But the good side is because of elephant, they would have elephant memory,
Okay, yeah.
and but only their weight reduction would become a bit difficult for them.
So there are positives and negatives.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Then there is sheep yoni, and then there is a lot of them, as we saw, marjar, mushak. There is cow, buffalo, tiger, and mongoose, and snake as well. No, not snake, mongoose. Yeah. So
So
and
that's
dog
how
and
they
cat.
would define a human personality.
Human personality.
This
yes.
is the route to that.
Right. So when we do Gunamilan, right, in Vedic astrology, that time these yoni aspect is also considered, which has a certain points to it. So it has to match. Otherwise, there will be different personality types, and it will lead to.
So that they balance each other.
Right. So the idea of telling you this is that in our culture,
Yeah.
years ago, when these
Ah.
Vedic astrology was, brought into its full effects, that time they were aware of the animals and animal instinct that we have based on the nakshatra on which we were born. So the connections of humans and animal is so deep and so intricate, rooting back to that time.
Yeah.
Like we already spoke about, every other deity has a animals and
Yeah.
the birds assigned to it, and especially in the Shiva Parvati family, you will see it's like a total contrast. There is there is a snake in Shiva, and then there is a rat for Ganpati.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then that way there is a lot of contrast, but still they coexist so beautifully.
Yeah. I
So-
think that's also an indication for us that we need to keep them close.
Absolutely.
And I feel it's just our greed and ego, which is, wanting to destroy every other species so
True.
that only we dominate,
True.
which is thankfully changing now. But I
Absolutely.
think this can be a very good initiative where all of us can respect animals as important as our lives.
Yeah.
Like somebody, some scientist quoted that if the butterflies go off the planet, we can't survive.
That's true.
So it's as simple as that. It's high time we all realize
Absolutely.
this.
We need beehives, we need butterflies, we need that pollination, cross pollination
Yeah.
take place. That's how we'll be able
Yeah.
to survive.
And especially with this mental health epidemic going on, I think today's the time where we need to have animals around or anything which is healing, basically.
Absolutely. So, yeah, the way we have plants and we have gardens and the
Yeah.
pets, it makes a lot of difference. And even for that matter, snakes, right? So in Indian remote villages, every houses or every farms would have snakes who would take care of them, because snakes in any way they are beneath the earth and they're the most sensitive beings.
Oh yeah, they can
And
sense
they can
energies
sense energies,
from
whatever is
distance.
happening beneath the ground, they would just sense it and they would react in a certain way, where tribal area people, they would understand what is their
Yeah.
indications. And that's why there used to be this whole concept of kshetrapals, where the Nag Devtas would be kept as a kshetra is the area and pal is the those who are the rakshak, or those who are the
Right.
guards of that area. They would guard, they would be the guardians, and they would ensure that there is no untowards activity taking place, and whoever is giving them their space, like whosoever that space belongs to,
Yeah.
they would give that respect to the human beings as well. So I know some families in tribal village in Zawar and those areas of Maharashtra, where snakes would just go by their house on their rooftop and area, but they would never harm anyone. But they would be aware if somebody is coming with a malicious intention, they would always have their way
And
to
that's
put them
again
out.
the survival.
Absolutely.
I mean, they got to protect
Yeah, and
themselves.
they protect themselves, they protect the entire area as well.
So basically, we have all the tools naturally given to us.
Absolutely.
But we just not aware of this.
Thing is, the moment
And
we
we're busy, developing and inventing new tools to predict things.
True. So we are looking for life in Mars, but we are missing out the life that we are. So
God, that's a statement, yeah, which always.
true.
So, talking about animal welfare, I mean, of course, there are many societies and initiatives that have been taken for their safety and protection. But as an animal communicator and a therapist, what all changes do you think we can make to spread this awareness and expand this community of animal lovers?
Sure. So, yeah, as you rightly said, the whole intent for me is to touch as many lives as possible, both in terms of animals and humans they reside with, and to bring this ecosystem put together once again, because it was just right there few centuries ago, and then it was just wiped out totally. And now, with this increased rise in consciousness, it is coming back again in many of our psyches, and people are open to take up those things which are beyond their left brain activities, like the entire
Creative
trading
side.
creative side, and then understanding things which can go beyond physical senses. uh, when we start habitating with animals again, we need to kind of reset ourselves and understand that they are part of our ecosystem. And when they are part of our ecosystem, whatever is good from them, we have to learn, and then we have to be human to give them what they are
Yeah.
actually deserving.
So reconnecting with their energies.
Reconnect, yes. And see, the application of animal telepathy, right? At times, I work closely with canine behaviors as well, because sometimes the behavior training that pet go through, it's a bit brutal, if I can quote.
Oh yeah, a
And
lot.
they may not like it, because the goal for the canine behavior therapist is to train the pet and to make them obey the command. And in that process, they may harm the animals in certain way. Whereas pet communication is where it's not like we are ordering them. Like people come and say that, tell them not to bark and tell him not to do this. We tell it to our children and nobody believes it, right? Nobody
Yeah,
listens to us.
yeah.
So
And that's not how it should be.
exactly.
I think we should all naturally flow with our lives.
Right.
And they deserve to do that.
Absolutely. And also, the most important part is to respect what it comes from them as well. For example, many times pet comes and say that, ask this human to change their job or quit their job because they are keeping too much stress. And they would understand kind of stress you're going through. So that's the way the ecosystem flows for them. Even for vet, at times when they're trying to find the disease and they cannot, fit that thing, we come in place and they would come and say that, hey, let's understand that this is the problem, which is not with the physical health of a pet, but it is to do with the psychology and the mirroring and the taking on to it. So in fact, animal very rightly say sometimes that I'll treat myself, I don't need any help, I don't need this
I'm
meds.
much more capable.
Yeah, absolutely. So this case where this pet parent reached around and said that my dog is not keeping well, he keeps on barking in the evening. And it was a very interesting case that evening 6 to 8 he used to bark, only
Okay.
this time.
Okay.
And they went to vet gave them antisuppressants called as gabapentin, and still the pet was not doing well. And the pet owner also was aware that this is not good for pet, so she reached out, I spoke to her, and when I spoke to the pet said that, no, this is a time when the father in the family, he misses the home most. and
Oh,
he's not here, he's somewhere else, and he misses being in the home most. This is the time, and that's why I'm mirroring his frustration,
frustration and
though he is
grief.
miles away. Then I got to know that he's in merchant navy, he's away.
Oh my
So
God.
whenever he went that time, this behavior started, and he said that don't give me this suppressants, it's not required for me, just let me be my own and I'll heal
He's just
myself.
releasing it
Yeah. So
through.
by itself, he got treated. There was no need of medicines. Pets come and say at times that we don't need this medicine, we need homeopathic medicines, which humans get treated with. The same
Oh,
homeopathic dog. So it's very interesting. And vets, they try their best, but only where the instances where it is not being addressed by them. We come in place and we try to understand what is there. And they would show in what part of body they have pain. Is it their own? Is it not their own? So all these things we can understand. So collectively, understanding them psychologically, understanding who they are staying with, also educating the humans they are with, and the entire society who is around. That's how we can bring this to more consciousness of human when we start having them as a part of our life. Even for the strays, right? That many societies have this issues of strays being at home and not home, and the barking issues. But again, we need to have some sort of awareness in their mind that they are a part of a system. They are to be taken care of and
not
give them not
mistreated.
not mistreated.
Right. So, right now in India, what's the condition in terms of are there many communicators existing, or what can be a good roadmap of awareness in terms of.
So there are a good amount of communicators now started coming in place. There are a lot of them who have started training people on the same. It will take some time because first to understand that communication exists and this kind of animal communication can take place. I was just quote an example. I was at PetFed and I was having my kiosk and with with and okay, most important thing is it's a pet who chooses a communicator, so it's never the other way around. Yeah.
Oh,
So I
guys, copy that.
yeah, so when I went there, I had set an intent that whoever needs the help or whoever needs a way through me, because I'm just a medium, please come over. So it was those pets, and I know those pets who just randomly pet parents bumped into me, and then we happened to have more deeper and intense conversation. What pet had to say. So it's a pet who chooses the communicator. So there was like this person was telling me that you're not providing any service, but still you are charging. What does it mean? So I'm like, it's like something which is not tangible or not visible.
Yeah,
There is way thing beyond it, and the most important thing is pet parent and pet are both able to relate,
yeah.
and that's the whole purpose over here. So there is rise in understanding the animal telepathy exists, but it will take some
There's
more
so
time, I
much more
guess. Yeah,
required. I would say not even 5% is covered so far.
maybe
It's
yes,
just
yes,
starting.
yes,
I think
absolutely.
in the UK, US, it's more prevalent
Yes, it
globally.
is. First of all, over there, the respect for pet is immense. There, they are treated quite well. I'm not saying here it is not treated badly, but some places where they are like, need to be given that space. Here, sometimes they are used as a status symbol, like this person who I was speaking to. The dog said that I did not stop in the thief. I did not stop them from the I did not stop the thief from coming home and taking things off because they've just taken me as a status symbol. So my role is just a status
Oh,
symbol. I'm just a beautiful looking heroine in their house. So, but then, yeah, the
trophy pet.
trophy pet, yes. So we need to include them. And most importantly, I would tell you is that everyone who has a pet at home can just try communicating in the normal language that we speak.
So
And
basically, the solution or probably a step towards this would be that the parents itself learn to communicate
absolutely.
instead of needing a communicator to come on board and do
True.
it.
Because the bond that a pet will share with a parent
Is
would not be the
yeah,
when good thing is that when communicator comes in place, we become a hollow conduit, and through us,
yeah,
it's just a medium that you're using. So
yeah,
nothing is ours. So I have to at times tell in advance that whatever would be coming from your pet.
yeah.
I was once blocked by someone because the pet said something so secret. I mean, so deep, or so what do we call?
Like the dark
So
secret.
dark secret of that human that I was blocked for a week, and like how you cannot say this, you did some research and tell. I'm like, nahi, nahi, mera kuch nahi hai. And after a week, I was unblocked, and
Yeah,
she
it,
called
it
me and
can
said
kind
that,
of offend them.
yeah, yeah.
So let's get to the rapid fire.
Okay.
Let's talk about, what kind of attributes or energies a particular pet or animal would get
Sure.
into my house or family.
Mhm.
So first is dog, because the most popular.
Compassion, generosity, compassion, selfless love.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cat.
Cat, own space, uh, cleanliness, hygiene, picky.
Lion. Of
Uh,
course, you can't have them as a pet, but
lion brings a lot of audacity and the prowess, yet a good heart,
elephant.
wisdom, and forgiveness.
Wolf.
Um, quite sly.
Horse.
Horse, a lot of energies and energy and agility.
Dynamism, I think. Yeah.
Dynamism,
And
yes.
strength.
Yes.
Yeah. Snake.
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 Stillness.
Okay. Cow.
Cow. Motherhood.
Warmth.
Warmth. Yeah.
And healing.
Healing as well. Yes.
Okay. So, yeah, I think that's good enough. So now just to summarize, overall, we've spoken on the individual level to have pets, the importance. But on a global level, what is the social impact that animals and nature would have? And what do you think can be improved upon?
Sure. So, on a good note, there is a lot of rise in the consciousness towards having animals in your family, in your neighborhood, and then becoming animal friendly. So, people are adopting all animal friendly way with veganism, leather free life, and now even those who are previously non vegetarians are turning into vegetarians when they start having pets. So, that impact is improving for sure. And on the nature wise as well, the adoptions of plants and trees, of course, are going to induce some sense of sensitivity in humans, which will make them more open towards it. So it's a rise in consciousness in a gradual way, but it is going towards that direction.
Amazing. I think it's a pitch from both of us to everybody that let's be more aware and conscious and realize the importance of having animals in our ecosystem. And let's work towards having a community where we are more sensitive and we can connect to them on our own.
Sure.
Yeah.
Bang on.
Is there some more time? I have one last question. No, on the other one. Yeah. So, just that non-veg thing I want to go.
Okay.
So one, irony that I've seen that people eat a lot of non-vegetarian food and they also have a pet. So for me, it's very difficult to digest the fact.
Yeah.
Like, what do you have to say about this?
See, it's very thin line, right? So I don't remember whose podcast I'd listened to. She's again a communicator from US, and the same question was asked to her. And that time, she had said that few of the species. I remember very vividly that she has mentioned fish and chicken. They were aware that they are part of food cycles, and many of the species in jungles as well, forests as well, when they are part of this food cycle because it's a life cycle, they exist like that. Only thing which is required is the awareness that if we have them, first thing at least one can focus is on reducing the animal cruelty of hitting them and killing them for fun or for sacrifices or so. That could be first step is taken. Then second thing would any which way become a second immediate thing which people can think of. So that is still a very subjective choice, but becoming aware about it and at least having a mindful dietary practices would help for sure.
More conscious consumption.
Yes, cautious. That's true.
Well, that summarizes everything, and this was amazing. Thank you so much, Abhi.
Thank you, Sean.
I think we today feel so much more wiser towards our own planet, and I hope that everybody will make it a better place
Sure,
to live in.
let's all work towards this conscious planet.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
And guys, we are linking all his social media connects down there. So please get in touch. He is available online for any services and offering when it comes to animal communication. So,
Sure.
okay.
Thank you so much for having me. Had a wonderful chat with you. Thank you.
Namaskaram.
Namaskaram. Thank you.
Cut.
I just came across a very fascinating book called The
I
Evolve.
must acknowledge that I have never actually got into reading spiritual books.
बहुत beautifully written है.
I'm sure many of us have a question what we are doing here, who we really are.
Thank you so much, and I hope everybody gets this treasure in their lives.
I could feel that I got so engrossed that I never realized when I completed about 90 pages at a stretch.